Welcome everybody. Welcome Bridget, Shal, Tulani, Yasmin. Welcome everybody.
Yeah.
So as we wait for people to join us, we normally give a 5-minute, troubleshooting technical connection time before we officially start any event. But in the meantime, I'd like to welcome everybody. We'll do introductions very soon, but in the meantime, it would be really lovely to rename yourself. We'd be interested to know your name, of course, and your organization. And if you're from another country other than South Africa, it would also be quite nice to find out which country you're from. So either pop it into the chat, introduce yourself, or change your name, which I'm going to do now, Belisa Rodriguez, drop down menu, rename, and I'm going to say South Africa and from Bell & Co. You'll see I've changed my name there. Welcome, Oleg, Cloni, welcome. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for inviting me.
Great. We'll hold on to our hats for 1 more minute to see if more people can join us before we officially start the program. You're already getting a bit of a sneak preview of the upcoming hour, but we'll go over the agenda a little bit later as well for those who are joining in a few minutes. All right. I think we can come off the screen share so we can see everybody's faces. Hi, everybody. Yay. Yeah, feel free to come off mute so we can say hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Dani, Shao, Oleg.
Hi,
Nice to see
everybody.
Hello.
new and
I feel
old
like-
faces.
That's nice. I feel like we need to take a screenshot now, a family photo, before things go too crazy and people get off their screens and videos.
Yes.
I don't know, Yasmin or Linda.
That'd be
Yeah.
nice.
Yasmin.
I'm happy to do that. So
Yeah, sure.
smile, everyone.
Yay.
3, 2, 1, go. Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So welcome everybody. You don't know my face. I've been invited to co-facilitate on behalf of the team. My name is Belisa Rodriguez. I'm actually based in Cape Town, and I run my own little consultancy called Bell & Company, and we deal with supporting creative entrepreneurs across Africa. So I've been working alongside our scene and Linda in other projects as well. I'm very happy to be here with all of you. Depending actually on the time, we wanted you to introduce yourself actually in the chat, because if there was too many people, then it would take a long time for everybody to introduce themselves. But I think we actually have a little bit of time to go around very quickly to say your name, your organization, and your country. So I think, Oleg, you can go first, and then you can pass on to somebody else.
Okay, my name is Oleg Misigov. I'm from Italy, and I represent my university, which is Sapienza University of Rome, and my foundation, which is Earth 3.0 Foundation.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. All the way from Italy.
Yes.
Bridget.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bridget Kokoris. There's a siren going by right now. Sorry.
We can't hear it.
You can hear it? That's good. I am a researcher right now at Yale. Previously, I was at UCT for a year in health systems research, and I'm based in the USA.
Okay, perfect. Tulani.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tulani Dube. I'm from Zimbabwe. I'm with Lupane State University. I am a social science researcher.
Excellent. I'm going to go with Charles.
Hi guys, yeah, my name is Charles. I'm a freelance designer focusing on product UX and UI. I'm based in South Africa, and I'm on the border between, in the north between South Africa and Namibia.
Excellent. Cloni, your turn.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hloni. I'm a student at Cranfield University doing systems thinking at the MSc level. But I'm a full-time worker. I'm a full-time employee for an engineering organization called Wally. And I run my consulting organization on the side. So I have a lot on my plate. I'm very much in love with systems thinking. And yeah, that's why I am part of this group. And yeah, so I've attended a lot of the systems innovation network sessions, which I thoroughly enjoyed.
Excellent. So your other name would be Superwoman.
I hope not. Okay.
Jasmine? Jasmine?
Yes, Jasmine. Sorry, I realized there's a Yasmin in the room as well. Hi, everyone. My name is Jasmine. I'm from Stellenbosch, South Africa, so based here. I'm an independent research consultant. So I came from the sciences, but I'm working in the education space and currently experimenting with projects like Africa Week, which was launched this year, and we're hoping to run another round next year. Yeah, I'm super excited to meet other systems thinkers and explore the space.
Perfect. Thank you. Tafadzwa.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, greetings everyone. My name is Tafadzwa Mropa. I'm a development consultant and a gender activist. This is my first time being in this space. I've worked with social movements in East and Southern Africa, and I've also interacted in terms of supporting local organizations whilst working with international organizations. And my last assignment, which ended this month, was with Christian Aid. Thank you.
Thank you, Tafadzwa. And last but not least, Mbaiwa, and then we will go to Linda, Yasmin, Arsene, the team. Mbaiwa?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Denise. I forgot to change my
Oh, sorry.
so it's my surname. I'm a learning officer at Open Society Foundation. I think we've been quite interested in understanding the role of systems thinking and how we can support our partners and coming up with solutions that will give an impact and not just implementing projects that do not result in impact. So yes, I'm happy to be here. It's my first time as well.
Nice, beautiful.
So I'm here to learn.
Thank you for joining. All right, I'm going to let the team introduce themselves now. You've probably seen their faces in the Systems Thinking app and in various other communiques and networking events. I'll pass on to Linda on my screen.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Belisa. My name is Linda Kuvea. I'm the Director of Innovation and Impact at Riasaco. Riasaco is the parent of Systems Futures, and within Systems Futures, I'm a host. Then on the side, I also have my little writing outfit where we offer professional writing services, proofreading, editing, rapporteuring, and stuff like that, anything writing. Yeah, that's me.
Arsene?
Okay, cool. So I'm Arsene Ngombe. I'm work with Linda also. I'm the CEO of RIASA. I'm also part of I'm one of the hosts of the Systems Future. I'm very excited to have you all here. Yeah, thank you so much, Yasmin.
Great. Hello, everyone. Great to see you all here. My name is Yasmin. I am originally from Brazil, living in the UK right now. So you may be wondering, what am I doing here, right? But I met Arsene and Linda in another organization, Systems Innovation. And then, yeah, we've worked really, really well together. And I'm super happy to be supporting them in developing the Systems Futures, which is the community, the online community of RIASA COI that I'm going to explain a bit more later on in Arsene as well. But yeah, I'll be the co-facilitator today, and I'm extremely happy to be here and to see faces, which is always a good thing to do in the digital world, right? So thank you very much for being here, and I'll pass it over to Belisa to continue our agenda for today.
So just maybe Akanimo, you just want to introduce yourself very briefly, and we will hear from you a little bit later as well. Say hello to everyone.
Thank you, Belisa. It's always difficult to know how to, what to say about myself. I would have said I'm originally from Nigeria, but I'm only from Nigeria. I just live in South Africa. So I'm Nigerian, working for RIAS Partners here in South Africa. RIAS is a social enterprise, and we help people sort of bridge the collaboration gap. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm looking forward to connecting and learning from you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. So now we're going to take you through something really special. We're going to listen to some music. And when you listen to this music, I want you to embody it and feel what comes up for you. So it's actually African drumming. And just for 1 or 2 minutes, just sit in it, listen, and let us know. After we finished, we're going to be talking a little bit about it. What does it conjure up for you? All right.
Eleonora non posso.
Yeah, that was just a little teaser, a little taste of the African drum. So yeah, as Belisa mentioned before, would be good to hear from you. What does this music actually come up? What does it entail for you? What are some of the words that you can think or feel when you're listening to this song? I'm happy to put that in the background a bit more, but yeah, just share with those, you can share in the chat or keep it to yourself, so we can have 2 minutes afterwards for you to share your thoughts. Yeah, just what you think what comes up for you. So I'm going to share a bit more of the music now. So I'll pass it over to Elisa.
Yes, as Yasmin was saying, what does it conjure up for you when you think about drumming? I'd love you to share some thoughts on the chat. Any brainstorm, anything to do with the way the drummers communicate with one another, what the rhythm conjures up for you, and maybe even linking it to systems thinking. Lovely. So we've got Charles, happiness, warmth, energy, cohesion, human. Cohesion again. Beautiful creation of collaboration. Coordination, exactly. And collaboration. See a common theme here of togetherness. The sounds of nature, something very natural. Ability to trust one another, to be innovative, but also to follow the beat. Okay, these are beautiful. Thank you. Everyone has a beat to contribute to. Yeah. The soul of the motherland. Wonderful. I wanted to share some insights with you about drumming as well, as you start to taper off on the chat. African drums have been used to tell stories, in fact. And I never quite understood this until I started researching a little bit more around the storytelling drum. For example, different drumming patterns and rhythms are used to represent specific words or phrases or ideas. So these rhythms are like a language that actually transcends human language, but carries meaning. And the experienced drummers will understand this rhythmic vocabulary, and they can use it to convey stories. So this was quite interesting as a...
Oh, seems like we lost Elisa. But yes, she was sharing a bit of the drums, right, and how important and how vital it is to feel the strength of instrument and all the power that it has to create music, to create rhythm, and how that can actually unify people and unify cultures and unify ways of thinking. So this is a bit of the context that we are here today. And for us to start thinking about systems futures and to think about ways to go beyond our own ways of doing things, or ways of organizing ourselves as a society, or ways of researching, or ways of thinking about the world. So on that note, I'll pass it to Arsene, who is going to share a bit about the systems futures, what that is, what is the purpose, and then share with you more information about this new online community that is emerging out of Riasa Code. So Arsene, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Yasmin. And thank you everyone again. Before I go any further, I would like to really grab this opportunity to welcome you all again on behalf of Riasa and the Systems Futures team, and express our gratitude and excitement for having you here. To us, this is more than just a launch event. It's a celebration of possibilities. And why we're saying possibilities? Because we come a long way, really. And we've worked hard to follow this vision, and we know that it's a vision that we're still working on. And together, as we were reflecting on the drum, we know that we would be able to achieve the change that we want to see. So wherever you're joining us from, we are really excited to have you here. And thanks again for joining. Okay. So I'm gonna start with a bit of background before I talk about the mission and the vision of Systems Futures. I will share my screen in the meantime, and please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see the Arsenal.
Perfect. So Systems Future that we exploring today really started from, it's a program, or it's an initiative that is part of RIASA. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure you can see as I speak the stuff that I'm sharing. So Systems Future is an initiative of RIASA. It's if you go to the RIASA website, you will actually see there is a page there where you can just link and get to join the platform. I know many of you are part of the Systems Future already. RIASA as an organization was started in 2020 as a consulting firm, but as we were working more in the space, in the social sector space, and with increasing knowledge and skills in systems thinking and strategic foresight, the company evolved to become a social impact network, leveraging skills, aggregating skills and expertise, leveraging the power of network to foster collaboration and catalyze the practice of systems change. And we've done this through various project interventions and also research. But I know you would like to know what really sparked our interest to start Systems Future. Through our work at RIASA Co, we always ask questions. You know, as a learning organization, we always reflect and ask questions. And one of the questions we ask ourselves is, how do we better understand and tackle the major systemic challenges currently affecting the effective functioning of critical systems that are part of our society? You can talk about the education system or healthcare. And as we were reflecting and getting to know this, the answer that we got to was through collaboration. And again, as we were reflecting on the drums that we were watching, that we played, the video that we played earlier on, we all believe that collaboration is essential if you want to do systems change work. But again, what practical steps can be taken to ensure that systems change practitioners or everybody's working at the systems level intervention has the support or resources and the network to enact sustainable improvements in the systems that they are working in? And how do we support them so that we can start building a more equitable and efficient world where everybody can benefit? And another question that we ask ourselves is, how can we foster a collaborative ecosystem where diverse actors, including policymakers, educators, healthcare professionals, and community members, mostly because most of interventions are taking place in the community and often we tend to leave them out. So we were asking ourselves, how can we work together to co-create solutions or responses for these complex societal issues that we all face within the field of our work? And those are the questions that really help us think of setting up a platform that we call today Systems Future. Systems Future started through those kind of questions and reflection that we used to do at that time. And I know we want to know, what is Systems Future? So it's a global online community that was set up by RIASA with the aim to unite those that are working, as I said, at the systems level interventions from Africa, but also beyond. I mean, I can see even here in the meeting that we have people that are not necessarily here, but are also outside the African continent. The platform fosters networking, collaboration, and shared learning in the practice of systems thinking and futures literacy. And we do this by drawing on local experiences, knowledge, and more importantly, innovation, because often we tend to forget and we have different definitions when we talk about innovation. Of course, as I said already, the purpose is to unite enhancing our understanding of complex issues so that collaboratively we can start addressing these issues through co-creation. So we do this by bringing people together, different actors in the African social ecosystem, to enable really deep discussions so that we can start doing the work of systems change together. And why we do this is because we believe the vision that we have is to see a world where the current systems that are not working efficiently can begin to operate for everyone interest, where we'll have different actors coming together to enable this change. So that's the vision. Now, before I hand over to Yasmin to talk about the platform itself more into detail, I would like to also draw some connections between systems futures and the African philosophy of Ubuntu. I know most of us in the room know that Ubuntu is actually an African philosophy that emphasizes our integral role within a larger community, rejecting the whole issue of isolation, the notion of isolation, for a profound recognition that individual well-being is inseparable from the well-being of all. So why we believe in this? We know that without collaboration, as I said earlier on, it's really difficult. It's difficult to drive change. And systems future, we believe that the well-being of one system, because we work with systems, cannot be separated with other systems that exist there. We have issues that we're trying to address together. We have issues around climate change. And when you poverty, economic depression, when you look at these issues, you start to understand that they are all interconnected and interlinked. So Ubuntu philosophy supports that collaboration. And this is also what we are doing through Systems Futures, whereby we bring practitioners together from different backgrounds and sectors to work together to drive that transformative change that we want to see. So that's in a way what the Systems Futures is about. Now I will hand over to Yasmin to tell you more about the platform itself, how it works, and so on. Thank you so much, Yasmin.
Perfect, Adrian. Thank you very much. I'm going to share my screen now to go through the website so you can understand a bit more how it works and how we are going to be updating you on new events, new insights, and articles and resources and so on. So this is the page where you come to. This is the home page, let's say, of the website, and then here on the side we have the feed, which is basically the space where you can find all the different resources and different updates that we have here when people come and join the website, new articles and so on. You have here the space for the events. So all the events that we have listed are in this space. So you just come here and see this one is happening now. And then we have another one happening on December 13th that I'm going to share the link here on the chat now, but we're going to talk about this event later on for you to RSVP. Then we have the members. So everyone that is currently on the Systems Futures, you can see here and you can just scroll down. And then if you find someone that you think has a profile that is interesting to you, or you're doing a research that maybe this person could contribute, you simply just click on the person here. and then you can just chat. You click here on the chat, and that's everything that you need to do to start a conversation with the members. After that, we have the welcome. So this is basically the summary of what the systems futures is about. So the main topics of creation and the main topics of interest of the systems futures. And then here, if you'd like more people to join, you can click here on this icon and then just share the link with other people. Here we have the community. So this is a space where we're going to put everything that is out of interest for you. So everything that you'd like to read, you're welcome to share with us as well. We have here a space for us to share comments and share, for example, Kuda read this article and then she's sharing what she thought about the article and so on. So the library is the space where we're going to gather the actual articles or videos or everything that we think it's important for you to learn about some specific topics or to be a bit more familiar with some ideas. So this is where you can find several resources that are going to be free and open for you to access. Here, the new space on this website is the frequently asked questions. So here we have several questions that you might be wondering, and we have the answers for those as well. So you can just click here and there's the answer right here. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can come here on the frequently asked questions and see if that's enough for you. But if not, then you can always come and share a message with us. Then here, this is the systems change oasis. So here's some courses that you can do in order to enhance your understanding and your learning about specific topics. So the one that we are going to talk about on December 13th is going to be systems leadership. And this is available on systems change oasis as well. So this is essentially what you need to do in terms of content. And then here for you to receive notifications, it's always very important to note. You come here on the little bell and on the rod afterwards to make sure that you have all the notifications set up so you can't miss any new information that we have. So again, here on the top right, you come on the bell and then on the rod. And then here you can set up email updates, or we have the app as well. So you can download the app and receive the notifications there, and here the notification types. So you make sure that everything is up to your liking, and yeah, there you go. Just make the best use of systems futures as you can, because it's a very interesting website, and here you can have a lot of information in one place, which is very, very good. So that's basically just a quick walkthrough overview of the website. And that's it. Do you have any specific questions right now that would be good for us to answer? Or it's all good? I'm going to share the link on the chat here of the website if you're not there already, and the next event, which is coming up on December 13th. But yeah, that's essentially it. So over to Belisa to guide us through our next part of the event. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Yasmin. Apologies again. I'm not sure where I got cut off in the introductions, but this next segment, we're going to have a guest speaker talking about his journey in systems thinking and why community is important. I'd like to introduce Akanimo Akpan. Originating, as he said, from Nigeria, Akanima possesses a strong passion for understanding and strengthening systems in Africa. As a critical and analytical person, he contributes and complements RIO's, which is the organization he works for, partners' generative and system approach to problem solving. As a senior consultant at RIOS, he has designed and facilitated multi-stakeholder engagements in various systems, including but not limited to justice transformation, water resilience, food security, and energy transition. His commitment to using systemic interventions is what brings him to this conversation on how it is imperative to adopt systems thinking not merely as a toolbox, but as an orientation to solving some of our most intractable challenges. Akanima's background in philosophy gives him a unique eye for understanding how systems work and to equally find solutions to some of their problems. So I'd like to invite Akanima Akpan to open with his thinking around why it's important to have an online community of systems thinking and futures, and how he joins Systems Futures. Thank you.
Thank you, Belisa. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Let me begin by saying a big congratulations to Raisa and the Systems Future team for this incredible, innovation. I think this could really be a game-changing opportunity for people in the sector. So this is a good offering, and I'm appreciative of what you have created here. So I will have about maybe 8 minutes to just share some reflections of what I'm seeing as I do my work, which I think Belisa very graciously, shared. In October, just few weeks ago, I was invited to participate in a workshop, and it was convened by the Institute for Security Studies in Pretoria. I'm in Johannesburg. And it was to bringing diverse stakeholders together to think about the future of climate-linked mobility. Thinking about how do we address and even link migration, that will happen with, as a result of climate change, into, climate action and financial commitments. So a wide range of stakeholders were invited: development banks, academic institutions, civil society, think tanks. And people were, initially asked to frame the issue as they see it from their standpoint, and make an offering of what they want to contribute to the system. And then the conversation built on that. There are 3 things that I noticed in that conversation, and it really worried me. These are people who you would say they are good people. We think of ourselves as good people wanting to change the world. But there are 3 kind of pitfalls that showed itself in that conversation, and I think I reflected it back to the group. The first one was, kind of the sort of almost, it felt like it was unavoidable drive for competition among these different people from very different institutions. But it felt to me that they were kind of competing for, 1, attention, 2, for resources. It felt like, the development banks that were there, they were trying to, cut them in a sense, appeal to them, show them the work that they do. And this resulted in the second pitfall that I saw, which is very fragmented system. As people think about, how do we put in mechanisms in place to address this climate-linked mobility? You see that the different actors are quite stuck in their point of view, in what they think is needed. And the third one, is kind of a sense of self-preservation. People just wanting to do business as usual, and lacking the ability to lift the gears. I wasn't the one facilitating the sessions. I was there as a participant. But I guess it highlighted for me a couple of things. One, the importance of collaboration, which I think is central to what Systems Future wants to do. 2, the importance of building a community. I think when you build a community, people do not feel like they need to compete, and I think it lessens the kind of fragmentation because, there's a community. And then people can work together to sort of further this, to preserve the community. I think, as every system, a system self-preserves itself. So I work for an organization called Rios Partners, and we exist, or we operate in different parts of the world. Basically, we think of ourselves as a social impact company that designs and facilitates innovative, adaptive, and transformative strategies that enable diverse actors to move forward together on their shared challenge. With the hope that we will bring about results that are fast, big, and fair. And I think the challenges of our time require this kind of, that the interventions we devise and further, they should, not just be big in terms of scale, but they should be just, and they should move fast. Given, people talk of this decade, which is, I think we are almost halfway through it, as a very decisive decade, to address big challenges like climate change. So I've had the opportunities of supporting very different actors and very different groups who might not like each other, might not trust each other to come together, think about what the problematic situation is, and see it from, I'm currently writing something on the need to let go of conformity as we think about systems change. Because conformity, in my experience, preserves power. It doesn't shift power. It preserves the status quo. So in our processes, we really let go of the idea that people must conform and come with one idea, and we work with the diversity and the wisdom of the room. And there are a couple of examples, some very recent, some very in not so distant past, that I can use to demonstrate the power of diversity, and the power of working with enemies. I'm thinking of, the work we did, given that I'm sitting in South Africa, the work we did just at the dawn of, or as democracy was coming into birth in South Africa. We convened a cross-sector of stakeholders, ranging from union members to political parties who didn't like themselves, including the ruling party at the time, the National Party, the ANC, the PAC, academia, and we brought them together to think about what the future of South Africa might look like in the next 10 years. This happened in 92 to 93. And we help people create a couple of scenarios of what the next 10 years might be. And scenarios, in our understanding, are not predictions of what will happen. Neither are they proposals of what we want, to come about. There are multiple stories that describe possible pathways into a future, and they help us think about and make some choices. Given the stories that we are telling, what do we need to do, to bring about the best scenario? And these stories must be, in a sense, challenging, relevant, plausible, and in a sense, clear. But what struck me, and I still marvel at the power of this exercise, was that one of the ruling parties, or one of the parties at the time, the Pan-Africanist Congress, for those who know a bit of South African history, one of their mottos at the time was one settler, one bullet. They were, against, they were for the transition, from appetite to democracy. But the way they saw it happened, sorry, let me just look at my time, how much I have left. The way they saw it happened was, through a kind of an armed struggle. They were also part of the process. And in that process, a key figure of the party stood up and told a kind of a wishful story of the Communist Party coming to the rescue of South Africa, and engaging in a kind of a revolution. But once he told it, he realized that it was not plausible. There was no way that would happen in the next 10 years. After the scenario, he went back, and shared, to his comrades. This is what came out, shared the 4 stories. And they asked him, why didn't you include a story of a possible revolution? And he said, I've tried to tell this story, but I don't see how it's happen. If you can tell it, you know, we can include it. And, you know, in the next 2 months, they engaged in the strategy process, changed economic policies, and participated in the elections. This community, you know, I don't think it would be that drastic of working with enemies, you know, what we say, you know, or what we call in real stretch collaboration, working with people you do not like or trust. But I think there are certain key principles that we need to keep in mind. You know, I think I will conclude. I think I have about a minute left. So I will conclude very now. So in Rios, we talk about the need for radical collaboration. And I think I want to offer this, you know, make an offering as we build this community, because, you know, to avoid this competition and fragmentation, and for people to pull forward together to achieve results that are fair, that are big, and that are just, you know, you know, yeah, I think I mixed up the order. We need to work together, you know, and I think it begins before you get to enemies. You know, one of the key principles of radical collaboration is to find necessary allies. And this is the community. You know, we are building this community. And for people to play their role, that is another key principle. So we are coming with a required, or with our skills and talents, and we want to contribute that skill to playing a role in solving these challenges. And we know that we cannot do it together. And in coming together and building allies, we build collective power, you know, which is something that is often not emphasized enough. You know, if this community is constituted well, which I believe, you know, we are in that process of really constituting this well, we are, you know, building collective power, and we can influence, we can make decisions, we can, you know, move the dial on something. But that we are allies doesn't mean that, you know, we will like or trust each other. We need to work our differences. You know, how do we work our differences? You know, I think you could interpret that in many different ways. But I think it's allowing room for multiplicity of perspectives to exist. Knowing that there is no one way, you know, there is no singular action. But also, you know, in doing that, we have the humility to discover and find ways forward. You know, in Rios, we say we experiment our way forward. You know, I'm currently involved in the process to reimagine INGO. And in the first phase, we built prototypes that could, you know, change the sector of INGO. And these prototypes were tested, you know, because we don't want to assume that we have the answer. So through these diverse people and working at differences, we can discover ways forward. Equally important, you know, is it to share hopeful stories, you know, and I believe, you know, that this community will provide opportunities and platform for us to really share stories that energize, because I think this work is difficult. The challenges, you know, can be overwhelming at times. You know, last year I was doing some work for some minds in South Africa on addressing GBV, gender-based violence. And, you know, I came back very depressed. So it's complex challenges are difficult, whether addressing poverty or water resilience, but can we find opportunities to share some hopeful stories as we go along? And yeah, I think the last principle is, you know, as we do that, to care for ourselves. You know, so Hassan, you talked about the intention of this platform being to connect, for us to learn and co-create. You know, but I think in connecting, integral to connecting is care. You know, so can we put that at the center? You know, not just that people come in and get some work done and, you know, they get paid. You know, but that it's a real community that is a caring one. You know, I don't want to say family because, you know, many Black families, in my experience, are quite problematic. But it's a community. You know, it's a shared. You know, we have a shared ambition. We care for ourselves. We look out for each other. So that is my hope, and that is, you know, the potential that I see of this platform. I'm very excited to be part of it because I think it offers a vehicle to achieve these principles of radical collaboration that I've just outlined. So please get involved, play your role, invite your friends, and yeah, and I trust that we will find ways of working our differences. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Akinamo. You've given us a lot to think about. And I see that Yasmin has also posted a Mentimeter. Yasmin, I'm going to hand over to you to conclude today's session and to reflect on what we've discussed today.
Thank you, Belisa. So just for us to have a bit of a moment to reflect on this beautiful sharing that Akinamo just put forward for us. I'll share here Mentimeter. For you to share with us 3 main words that you got from this sharing. What does collaboration really mean? And do you think, what are the words that come to you with this sharing? So I'm going to share my screen so we can see the live version of your responses. Let me see how that works. So I'll give you a couple of minutes here. Care, radical, humanity. If you have any problems with the Mentimeter, you can just put on the chat and I can add to the Mentimeter as well. Wow, those are great ones. Collective power, being vulnerable, competition versus collaboration, radical, acknowledging diversity, cut out the competition, innovation, cooperation. So maybe before we finish, someone that put the radical word here, since it's the biggest one, would you like to share with us just very quickly, what do you mean by radical, and how can you see that being a potential to the future, right? To thinking about systems futures. So Bridget, yes.
I was actually just typing in the chat. I love thinking about the idea of what radical collaboration looks like. I think it's so overlooked, like to just how you bring in different perspectives on interdisciplinary work and transdisciplinary work. And I think just thinking about it like from the start is really critical in systems work. And it's really, I've never heard it phrased like that, like radical collaboration. So I think it's cool.
Wow. That's very important for sure. Thank you, Brenda. Yeah, important words there. Interdisciplinary, collaboration, radical innovation, and so on. Thank you. And thank you everyone for participating in the Mentimeter as well. So I'll pass it over to Arsene now, who is going to share the final part of this session that we're going to come to a close, and then the next steps. So over to you, Arsene.
Thanks again, Yasmin, and thanks everyone for your participation. Akinamo, thank you for that encouraging word. It was really good because that's the purpose of this community, right? And the way that you just share is very important. I know it's a good thing that we have a recording for those who couldn't make it, that they can watch the recording. To me, I believe this is the stepping stone toward expanding this vision that we have. And I believe that with the commitment of everybody, we will be able to achieve that. Before we close, I just saw Cloney made a call here. If we could take 5 seconds of silence in honor of 11 family members who have sadly passed away at work in the mine here in South Africa, where she works. Maybe we can do that for 1 second. Thank you so much for that. And again, so please stay tuned. We took you through the whole platform. Now you probably are familiar with the platform. You know how it works. So take your time to familiarize yourself with the content that we create. And there is an event that we'll be hosting on the 13th of December. That's going to be the introduction to the systems leadership, which is part of the, which is one of the programs that we'll be offering the Systems Future platform. I hope to see you in the next event. And thank you once again, everyone, for your participation, and hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Asen. Maybe I just wanted to say, yeah, sorry. Okay, I just wanted to say that, yeah, we are on time now, but maybe we can remain behind if there are others who feel to have an informal chat, yeah.
We can stop the recording and have an open floor for anybody who wants to have a chat.